battle over adding a citizenship question to the 2020 census is getting downright nasty. President Trump's refusing to back down after the Supreme Court halted the move. And now Nancy Pelosi is going after the president with this smear.
This is about keeping, make America, this hat, make America white again. They want to make sure that certain people are counted. It's really disgraceful, and it's not what our founders had in mind.
Attacks like that not stopping the Trump administration from going forward. Attorney General Barr says the DOJ has a workaround to include the citizenship question.
Yes, we've been considering all the options, and I've been in constant discussions with the president ever since the Supreme Court decision came down. And I think over the next day or two, you'll see what approach we're taking. I think it does provide a pathway for getting the question on the census.
Okay, Juan Williams, explain to me why Democrats don't want the federal government to have an accurate read on who is in the country.
We do. I think Democrats do very much. I think that the Constitution says very clearly in the enumeration clause, Article 1, it says very clearly that it's an actual count of all the people. It doesn't say citizens, it says count all the people.
Okay.
Because it's for representation in Congress and for federal funding. It's a really important issue.
Right.
And once you start changing and playing games with, let's count, remember this is the famous blacks 3/5, or don't count the Indians, they're not, all this, they don't pay taxes, the Indians. So, no, what we have understood since for all time is count all the people, the entire population. In fact, the 14th Amendment...
Okay, but that should give you a count of all the people.
Yeah, all the people.
If you ask the question still.
No, because what happens is, and I think you understand
illegal immigrants aren't people? Is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is, what it does, the impact is, Jesse, it scares people off. They think that the government is going to use this, therefore... It
scares people.
Yes.
This is just like the argument that people have been making about voting.
I think the census is scary.
Like if
your family is here and something going to come get your grandma and throw her out, yeah, that's scary.
Okay.
Throwing out the granny.
First of all, the census asks about your race. So if this is really about racism, maybe we should stop asking people what their race is on the census, because I think that might be more racially prone than asking people if they're a citizen or not, because that actually doesn't have to do with race. And so that's the first thing. The second thing is the Supreme Court, when they came down with this 5-4 decision, actually said in the opinion that it was legal for the Commerce Department to ask the question. They just didn't really like the justification for it, which for conservative justices on the court said was ridiculous. The question is about legality of the situation. Democrats don't want an accurate count of illegal immigrants because precisely of what you said, Juan. The census counts everybody in order to distribute power in Washington, D.C. And Nancy Pelosi is projecting when she says that it's Trump that wants certain voters, when actually Democrats don't want an accurate count, because then it will display how many illegal immigrants are being counted for Democratic leadership and Democratic positions in Washington, D.C., because most of them live in blue places. So for Democrats, this isn't about racism or about making sure people answer the census because they're scared. It's about giving up political power because the census allocates seats, and they want as many seats as they possibly can get, legal or not.
But wait a second. Let me just quickly respond to you, Katie. Katie, it's not about adding. It's about subtracting. If you count everyone, then...
Oh, you mean illegal immigrants wouldn't be counted towards representation in Washington, D.C.? I think that's a valid...
They would be counted. In other words, that's what the Constitution, that's what the 14th Amendment calls for. Everyone's being counted. The question is whether
illegal immigrants should be used to allocate seats in Washington, D.C. when they are not citizens of the country.
Yeah, that's your issue. I'm just saying...
No, that's the issue.
That is the issue.
The Constitution, and this is why 3 federal judges have ruled against the administration.
No one's saying they won't be counted. We're saying let's count them and figure out what kind of people are in the country. We do it by race. We're asking to do it by citizenship, and we're asking that so we can make sure that representation in Washington, D.C. is for American citizens and not for 20 million illegal aliens in the country.
Greg, I have an interesting poll here.
Well, that'll be surprising.
2 polls, actually.
Oh, geez.
A majority
yes. One wasn't enough.
A majority of Americans support asking the question.
Yeah, including minorities.
Including Hispanics.
Yes. So if you're against this, then according to Nancy Pelosi, you must be racist. Right. If you are against this counting, which minorities are for, you are a hopeless bigot, and that disgusts me. First, The fact that this opening segment is about a question on the census, which is essentially a pile of paper that very few people care about. Welcome to a great time to be alive, right? This is our A block, right? It's not war. It's not pestilence. You know, it's not people dying in the streets. It's about the census. But the big thing here that bugs me, and you guys actually argued this quite coherently, it's just the race smear, okay? Oh, so counting now is racist. Is accounting racist? Is Count Basie racist? When someone gets ID'd for beer, is that racist? If you're filling out a job application, is that racist? Anytime information is asked, will that now be considered racist? It's so overdone now that it's becoming background noise. And I will make a deal. If the left has a moratorium on calling people racist, I'll stop calling people communists and socialists, okay?
I'm not going to agree to that.
I know you would.
I reserve the right to call people socialists.
But it's like 1 minute, Pelosi is this seasoned pro that understands working with people. And the next thing, she throws on the social justice warrior costume. Yeah. It's like Gramps putting on board shorts to go skateboarding at the wharf. It just doesn't. Her heart wasn't even in it. You could tell she didn't even believe it when she was saying it.
I think there's a reason that she really wanted to do it is because she didn't like all the coverage from yesterday.
Yes.
What was our A block yesterday?
Exactly.
It was about the fact that she has a feud with AOC and the others, and that was the A block yesterday. So it's actually kind of clever from a communication standpoint, right? She's like, oh, I know how to turn this right around. I'll say Trump is a racist.
Yes.
And that unites her with her leftist flank, and then she's able to talk about this. I do feel like if Bill Barr had been the Attorney General from the beginning, that the Commerce Department would not have made this screw up, and they would not be in the legal jam that they are in. He's doing his best to try to figure out a way that they can do this, but they are late to it, and we do need to have a count. I also think that it could turn out that could be some Republicans who are kind of worried that you might not count all people and then distribute it that way, not because of power in Washington, but because of money that goes back to the states. So if you are in a state that has a lot of people who are here illegally, and if they aren't counted, but those are people who use the roads, they are on public transit.
Florida.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so this might not be so partisan when it actually all gets through the wash.
Let me just respond to Greg on this race issue, because I think it's explosive. You know, to me,
do you
Greg,
think so?
I do, because I think the Constitution says you should ask people their color. That's also for you, Katie.
Okay, but
that's legal. That's constitutional.
Racist,
wait.
Nobody. I'm not saying it's.
You're saying it's unconstitutional
to ask
an illegal immigrant if they're a citizen.
No, what I'm
You're saying it's unconstitutional.
Yeah, because that's not what the Constitution.
That's not true.
The Constitution says.
You need to go back and research that, because that is not true.
Let me just say the 14th Amendment clearly says, and the 14th Amendment is the one that brought blacks into full citizenship, says whole number of people in each state. And let me just quickly add, there was a top Republican donor who sent a memo to Commerce saying, here's how we can, in fact, diminish the impact of non-white citizens voting.
Or
what do you guys want?
We get an accurate read on who's in the country, and illegal immigrants don't count towards congressional representation.
Greg says racism is at stake, and here is a white Republican donor saying,
yes, but you were actually, I was talking about the use of the race smear by Nancy Pelosi.
I don't think it was a smear.
Of course you don't, because you think Trump's a racist.
No,
you wrote a whole book about it.
It's true, I do, but I'm just telling you, there is, in fact, a white Republican donor who said this is the way we can do it.
That's not responding to me. You say you think, but you have no facts. Show me facts that Trump is a racist.
Oh, race?
Go for it. Go for it. Start now.
I don't even want to go back to Birther, Central Park 5, S-hole countries. I could keep going.
Again, he was also a birther about Ted Cruz. There goes that racist part.
Oh, you mean about his dad killing Kennedy?
Yes.
Oh.
Born in Canada.
Again,
born in Canada.
One is wrong.
Okay.